Hi Cal Poly students, I'm Antony and I'm here to give you a little cooking video. So your lovely school has asked me to make a dessert in a pretty short amount of time. I feel like they don't know me very well because I don't really make desserts. I'm not a baker, it's way too much precision for me. But I really wanted to deliver because I'm Canadian and I like to make everybody happy. So I started thinking about what desserts I kind of do know. And then of course, I panicked a little, and as my therapist says, if it's hysterical, it's historical. So I looked back at my childhood and I remembered that my dad used to make one of my favorite things for me ever, crepes. So if you don't know what a crepe is, it's basically like a super thin pancake. It sounds fancy, it's very French, but it's actually super simple to make. And what I love about crepes is that once you have like a base recipe for it, you can literally throw anything in there. You can make them savory, you could with some like ham and asparagus, or like a nice Emmentaler or a Swiss or a Gruyere, or you can make them sweet and just shove some Nutella and bananas in there, or even some like peanut or almond butter and a bunch of cinnamon. The sky's the limit. So I'm actually going to teach you a really easy way to make it using what I have here. For whoever doesn't know me, I'm usually based in New York, but I'm actually in Austin right now where I was meant to be filming Queer Eye, and I decided to stop once production was halted. And so I'm left at this kitchen with slightly limited means. Not unlike a college dorm, but arguably if I think back at a lot of friends of mine who went to American colleges, this is probably very well equipped. So, but either way, yeah, I'm going to teach you how to make crepes, and my very favorite way of having them. I really miss New York, and I miss the restaurants and socializing and being around people, and one of my favorite restos is called, I never say resto, why would I say resto now? I think it's like a French-Canadian thing. Anyway, this place, Mercery, on Mercer Street in Soho, serves crêpes au sucre et citron. So it's just crepes with lemon and sugar. It's the simplest thing, but it's so freaking good. And so now I'm going to teach you how to make it. So you can follow along, or you can just watch and hopefully be entertained and learn something. And if you're a master crepe maker, also not a word I ever thought I'd hear myself saying, then I hope I don't screw it up for you. So, all right, let's get started. Okay, so we're basically going to be setting up a little wet situation and a dry situation, and then we're going to combine those ingredients together. Actually, why don't I run down the ingredients that we're going to need? Okay, so you're going to need either double O flour or all-purpose flour for this. If you want to use I don't think almond flour would work really well, but I would certainly Google it, or if you're using any type of like a gluten-free situation, look it up. I'm not an expert in flours. So I'm using all-purpose flour. You're going to need about a cup of that. Whole milk. Don't go for the skim stuff. Go for the full fat. Tastes better. So I'm going to be using about a cup and a quarter of that. A little pinch of salt. 1 egg. And, oh yeah, and 2 tablespoons of melted butter that have been cooled. Which sounds like it's redundant, but basically if you have a microwave, it's literally the only thing I use mine for. You know what's a pet peeve? Thing I don't really understand, when people heat up their water in the microwave for tea. There's something illegal. It feels illegal to me. I don't know. Anyways, I don't really use my microwave. I had one in New York for 4 months, and I'm a pretty aloof person, but I didn't even realize I had one until 4 months of living in my apartment. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Literally neither here, because that's in New York, and I'm not in New York. So this is my microwave. Why am I showing it to you? I basically melted 2 tablespoons of butter for about like 30 seconds until it got nice and liquidy. I'm actually going to zap it for 5 more. And you want to make sure that it's not too hot, so you just let it cool for a couple of minutes. And if it gets too solid, just throw it back in the zapper. It's a word for microwave that I think other people use as well. And then you need a couple of lemons, and then some granulated sugar. So in New York, I have a crepe pan. It's actually my dad's crepe pan that I totally stole from him when I was visiting him in Vermont, and I don't have that to use, but I'll also assume that most people in the world don't have crepe pans, so I'm going to be actually using, oh there it is, a regular non-stick pan. You can go for a classic stainless or aluminum. It sticks a little more, so non-stick is going to make your life a lot easier if you have it. Just don't use like a metal spatula or a tool on it to scratch the Teflon out because that's dangerous. So I'm going to be using that. I'll put it right over here. And let's get started. Okay, first things first, from my egg. Okay, so I was creeping on Martha Stewart's Instagram account, and she always has like a beautiful stack of fresh farm eggs. So here in Austin, I found local farmers who have been supplying to restaurants, but they haven't been able to supply to the restaurants because the restaurants have been closed. So there's this app where you can actually order farm eggs, and they're not even that much more expensive than they are at a regular grocery store. So I get beautiful farm eggs, and I get to live my Martha Stewart life. So I grab one of these eggs, crack them into a bowl. If you have two bowls and one is bigger and one is smaller, put the egg in the smaller bowl. Crack it on the side. There you go. Put it straight in the garbage. And then I'm gonna take in another bowl, in the larger bowl, I'm gonna put a cup of flour. Nice heaping cup. That's as precise as I'm gonna get. So that's perfect. The reason why I'm doing two things at once, because I had to use the 1 cup measuring cup for my milk, and if I used the milk before and then I put the flour, it would have been a clumpy mess. So, and then I'm gonna take a cup of milk, add it to the egg, and it's actually 1 1/4 cups of milk. So I'm gonna add that here. Perfect. And a pinch of salt to the flour. Salt really like wakes up the flavors in literally whatever it is that you're making. But I also have a theory, and I don't know if it's founded in science, but I feel like the salt actually breaks apart the little clumps of flour because you don't want the clumps of flour. Also, I'm going to be whisking the eggs in the milk until it becomes like a nice homogenized mixture. If you want to save some time, you can put it into a blender, but it messes up the blender, and I assume that most of you don't even have blenders, so I'm going to keep this very rustic and handmade. So, pinch of salt into the flour. I'm going to do the dry ingredients first, so just the flour. And just whisk it up a little bit. You don't have to do very much. It's literally all you got to do. Done. And then with the egg and the milk, whisk those up as well. And just incorporate it until all the whites have sort of like broken down so they're not gloopy and boogery, and so the yolk is fully cracked as well. And I don't suggest standing like this and doing it, but I'm just doing it so that my back isn't to you. So it's going to get nice and frothy. Great. And then when you lift your whisk, and if you don't have a whisk, you can use a fork. It's just going to take a little longer, but you'll get there, don't worry. I really hope you guys have forks. Great. So this seems about right. I don't have any like gloops or anything. It got a little foamy, but that's okay. And now I'm going to add my melted butter. Perfect. Again, that was 2 tablespoons. Great. It's fully incorporated. And then you put your wet mixture into your dry mixture, which is literally just flour with a little bit of salt. And we're going to mix all that up together. So a crepe mix is basically, like if you've made pancakes, you know how it tends to be like a really thick batter and they stay really nice and fluffy. That's not a crepe. That's like the crepe is like the super thin little cousin of the pancake. So we basically want it to be kind of like the consistency of heavy cream, like 30 or 40% cream if you buy that at the store. Because we want them to be super nice and thin. So you incorporate it all. I'm going to bring it up close, hopefully you can see it. But it's kind of like, it just looks like really heavy cream, you know? Okay, so this is going to thicken a little as all the flavors just sort of meld. Now, you want to let this sit for 30 minutes outside of your fridge. If it's going to be more than 30 minutes and you want to make this in the morning and you want to make it later at night, or you want to make it at night and prepare it the next morning, even though this doesn't take a lot of time to prepare, if it's more than 30 minutes, cover it with saran wrap and put it in your fridge. So I'm going to take a little break, tidy up a little bit, wait 30 minutes, and I'll be back. Okay, so we are back. Full disclosure, the 30 minutes that the crepe batter was sort of like settling in, I made pasta carbonara, and I couldn't help myself but eat half of it, and now I feel like a bit of a garbage can, but I'm really excited to have something sweet. And it's only like the afternoon here, it's like 4:50 p.m. So it's been a pretty good day. I've had pasta and I'm about to have crepes. So, in a medium-sized skillet, non-stick, I have it on like medium-high heat. We want it to get nice and warm. Shouldn't touch the pan like I just did. That's not a thing that anybody should be doing. I'm basically going to put on a generous teaspoon, more like a tablespoon of butter. And you want to coat the entirety of the pan. You could be extra and you can make a brown butter, which is basically where you cook out all of the water out of butter and it becomes beurre noisette, which means a noisette is a hazelnut. It becomes like this nice sort of like a earthy, dark, sort of like a rich buttery situation, but we're just going to make these simple for today. So we want it to bubble, but not to sort of like get too sizzled because we don't want to burn them too quickly. So that's kind of ready, nice and foamy. Take it off just for a second. Here's the thing with crepes. My father always told me this, and my dad's girlfriend tells me this because she's French Canadian and they eat crepes with literally everything. Your first crepe is going to be a dud. It's kind of like with pancakes, so don't be hard on yourself. That's also a way of me telling myself not to be hard on myself if I screw it up, which I inevitably will for you right now. And if it's the first 2 or 3, it's fine. So, pan is here. Now, I want to last minute check the consistency of my crepe batter. This is a lot thinner than a pancake batter. I did add a little bit of milk, not much. Just a little sploosh, not an actual measurement, so that it really does have like the texture of heavy cream. And so, onto our hot pan, while we test out the heat, you want to put about 3 tablespoons. So I measured in a 1/3 cup, I put in 3 tablespoons, and it's basically like a 1/3 of an inch from the top. That's like the closest measurement I could come to. So you pour it right in the middle. There you go. Put that right back in. And then you kind of swirl it around just to get it nice and even. First one's gonna be a dud, but it's okay. Oh my gosh, do I have a spatula? Okay, that'll work. Iced coffee, not part of the recipe, just for me. So when it starts to bubble, this literally takes like a minute until it's ready to flip. When it starts to bubble a little along the outside, the way pancakes do, that's when you know you're almost ready to flip. And just keep moving it around. Luckily, I properly lubricated my pan with butter, so I'm not worried about it not sliding. And then just like play with it a little. Just check it out. See how she's doing on one side, you know? I can already tell this one is a little thicker than I want it to be, but that's okay. Because it's the first and it's a dud. Maybe Neon will have this. Neon's our rescue from Austin Pets Alive. Aren't you, Neon? Hi. It's almost ready. The pan isn't as hot as it's going to be for others, so this one is taking a little longer. And I can already tell that this crepe is like a little thicker than what I want it to be, but that's okay. And it's also not a perfect circle. But what is a perfect circle? You know? So I'm just being a little patient here. Hi, baby girl. Do you want to say hi? Hey, come here. Come here. Up, up. Come here. Maybe I shouldn't ask you to jump next to the pan. That's probably not safe. Okay, this is about to burn, but I just want to show you everybody. Cal Poly, this is Neon. She's half beagle, half pit. With the sensibility of a baby, but also of an older lady, right? Yes, you're all of those things. So then you just take it and flip it. It's a little browned along the edges, a little thicker than I want it to be. On the other side, it's just going to be a few seconds because you've basically cooked the whole thing all the way through. I know that my temperature is good, so that I'm fine with because it's not burning too quickly, but I definitely want to make it a little thinner. So I'm actually going to add a tiny bit of milk, just another sploosh, mix it around. I think that's going to be perfect for the next round. And I'm going to get a plate out here. Neon, you're going to be able to have this once it cools down because we don't want you to hurt your tongue. We don't want you to burn it. I really feel like she does understand me. Okay, so we're going to take some more butter. The pan is very nice and hot now. And again, you want to swirl it around so that you coat the whole pan evenly. It's a little hot, so I'm going to put that on quickly. Perfect. And then start off in the center. Just lay it all around so that it expands as much as possible. And then just lightly shake the pan to get it to be nice and thick. Yes, I realize what my voice sounds like as I do this. So this one's not a perfect circle, but it's a lot thinner, which makes me really happy. She's expecting a treat. I don't know if you can see her here, but she's sitting right here and she's looking at me. So this second one is going to cook a lot quicker than the first one did. I'm going to lower the heat a little bit. Cooked a little too quickly for my liking. It's ready to flip. Beautiful. That's what we want a crepe to look like. Nice and thin. And that's basically ready. I'm going to show you that one after. Perfect. Add a little bit more butter. I'm going to make 2 more. And you basically keep going until these are done. You can freeze these crepes once they're cooked. You can put them in the fridge. Got my hands messy. And then you start in the middle and then you pour it all the way around so that it really expands as much as possible. And then shake the pan around. Get them to be nice and round. This one's going to be a pretty one, I can already tell. Beautiful. Oh, we love a thin crepe. The only thing we needed to fix was add a little bit of milk. Perfect. Grab my spatula. That's a word for spatula I just made up. Hi, baby girl. Great. Check the underside. It's starting to get golden. Beautiful. Flip it and it's ready to go. Yes! This is exactly what I wanted it to look like. I'm really happy. And we only had one dud. That's pretty good. The rest of them are totally edible. So again, just a few seconds on this side and then she's ready to go. And then I'm going to make one more. Yep, just flipped it again to make sure. Sweet. And a little bit more butter. Oh, the smell of melted butter, am I right? Okay. Cover the bottom of the pan, we don't want anything to stick. And once again, we take and just swirl it around to make as big a circle as possible. You have to move so quickly with these, nice and gentle, just to get all the batter around. Perfect. And when the whole thing starts to move, that's when you know it's already cooked so much that you don't need to twirl your pan around. Perfect. So, oh, I'm going to be ready to eat these soon. I'm so excited. Okay. Again, when it's browning on the edges and starting to bubble and sizzle a little bit, that's when you know she's ready to flip. I did it a little prematurely. This one is like a nice darker golden color, and this one's a little lighter, but it's okay. We'll just compensate on the other side. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. There we go. Awesome. Take it off the pan. Turn off the heat. Now, since there's no more heat, but there's still, the pan is still really nice and hot, I want to melt just a little bit of sugar on it. So what I'm going to do is put the crepe back on for a sec, and then just with your finger, a little bit of granulated sugar or confectioner's sugar, just drizzle it on, or sprinkle it on, I should say. Lemon. Roll it around on your counter to get all the juice out. Squeeze it, and here's a little pro tip for the seeds. I used to squeeze it like this with my fingers, but I have idiopathic clubbing. Look up what it is. I have really fat fingernails. The seeds would just like fall through because I have gaps between my fingers, but a chef taught me that if you squeeze a lemon like this, the seeds stay in, and the juice comes out. Isn't that a great little hack? Perfect. So now, you fold that in half, fold that in half again, and then you put it on your plate. Oh, so nice. And again, the heat is off so we don't have to worry about anything burning. Put it on, and then just do the same thing over again. A little bit of sugar. You really don't need too much. And squeeze a bit of lemon. Yeah. Fold it in half. Fold it in half again. You have a beautiful little quarter. And put it on your plate. And I'm going to do it with one last one. Don't worry, Neon, you'll get your dud. A little bit of sugar. Ooh, hot. Moving fast. A little bit of lemon juice. Perfect. And flip it in half, and flip it in half. Take it and place it. Great. I know I'm being a little extra, but I'm just gonna. And because I can't help myself, this butter is room temperature and it's just staring at me. I'm just going to put it right over just to get these to be nice and glistening. Amazing. And why not? Tiny bit more sugar on top. Okay. These are our little crepes. So simple, so cute. Neon just tripped over the glam cord, but it's okay, we all made it. I love how they're crispy on the edge and just really nice and soft in the center. It's so good. And it's really simple to make. lemon and sugar. Like, you don't have to be complicated. You could put fresh berries and whipped cream, do whatever the heck you like, but I highly recommend trying it like this. Just makes me miss New York. So good. I'm gonna wait until those cool down so then I can just roll up one crepe and just eat the whole thing like a beast. Thank you so much. I hope you picked up a trick or two. And stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. And yeah, take care, guys.